Hello, boys and girls and aliens and all you cuties out there, and welcome to Stratton Studios game Custom Kingdom. And along we have the CEO Josh Loveridge. Hello there.
Hi, how you doing?
There you are. Chill. How are you doing? we both asked the same question. I'm fine.
Good.
How are you?
I'm doing good. It's good to hear.
That's good. You are in Ireland. Is that correct?
Yeah. We're located here in Ireland. We're in Wicklow, which is about an hour from Dublin. So about an hour from the capital. For people who don't know.
Nice. So you are born and raised there.
Yeah. I'm an Ireland native. So yeah, it's quite an interesting place for a game developer to come from, because not many game developers live in Ireland. Any of the ones that are here are mostly people that have, lived in, maybe they're American or maybe they're from Germany or something like that, and they just live here. But yeah, no, I'm natively from Ireland.
Ah, nice. And if I understand right, you having the company Stratton Studios. That is your company, right?
Yeah.
That is your company. And is it correct that the first game you did was the one we found?
Yeah.
Or the company.
Yeah, so
the company. I mean.
Yeah, so the one we found was the very first title we actually made. So previous to the one we found, we published I'd say about 40 mobile titles. Now they're not available anymore. They're kind of gone.
That's
we
sad.
took them all down. But yeah, so we took them all down. But that was a learning period for the company. But yeah, our first I suppose professional title that we like to call it was the one we found, and that was a first-person survival horror experience that was on Xbox One and Steam.
Right. Sad it didn't came for PlayStation. I found it interesting.
Yeah,
I saw some coupon of
it. So it's an interesting one. Because obviously now we stick with Sony. I suppose, we're partnered with all the platforms. So we're partnered with Nintendo. So we can publish on, whatever platform we want, really. I suppose for us and for me, I always like to pick a platform and stick to it.
Right.
Main reason being is that I don't want to spread myself too thin. And then, say, for example, have to make 4 or 5 versions of the game when I don't feel that maybe I'd rather spend that extra time on one version of the game and make it really, really good.
It also makes sense, but then I guess you have to have in mind that the fans maybe play on different consoles and still can be fans, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So the one we found, that was not a Kickstarter.
No, so it wasn't. And I suppose we're an interesting company in that we don't do Kickstarter in the traditional sense that most companies do it. So most companies do Kickstarter because they are, they need that funding. They need, if they don't receive that funding, they're not going to be able to publish the game. Whereas for us, we do Kickstarters not because we need the funding to publish the game, but because we want the community to be involved within our titles. So we want to be able to include them in a way.
Right, you need to find a crowd. That's the most thing, I guess.
Yeah, essentially.
So in 2019, you did release Castle Custom for PlayStation 4.
Yeah, we did indeed. So Castle Costume Castle Costume was a completely different kind of jump from the one we found. Castle Costume was a third-person open-world adventure game in the vein of a kind of, 90s collectathon. So if you think of the likes of Banjo-Kazooie and games like that, it was kind of inspired by that genre and kind of tried to bring back the revival of the collectathons. And it was very well received, I must actually admit. Even now today, people still are playing it, and people love it. So it was quite a nice title. It was a very fun title to make as well.
Nice. And then after you made now I jump a little bit. I will come back later, but you did this game Custom Kingdom also. That are those two related now because they have the same custom in the title? That's just what I was going on. And also Halloween theme, both of the games.
Yeah, so at Stratton Studios, we focus only on Halloween titles. Main reason being so we'll either be always making horror titles or Halloween titles. So they're always kind of that Halloween-y vibe. So that's what we're known for, and that's what we're going to continue to publish. The main reason I've done that is because there is no Halloween games, so we're like one of the only companies that actually makes them. Like every year there's a couple other other companies that put out games and they might be Halloween themed, but I think we're the only studio right now who actually solely focuses on Halloween titles. So that's why it's called. So that's why they were kind of similar name in that aspect. Were they related in any way? No, they weren't related at all. So they were completely different games. I suppose it was just a name and scheme thing that I came up with, and I liked the name.
It
for costume.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, we'll go back to Castle Custom then. You did a Kickstarter for trying to release it for Nintendo, for Switch, I guess.
Yeah, so I suppose a couple of people who play their games had kind of, suggested or expressed interest in seeing a Switch port for the title. Now, obviously, that was something that I take very seriously. And I said, okay, right, if you want a Switch port, I'll do a Kickstarter and let's see how many people actually are interested.
The world will grant you
so
different abilities.
We did that,
sure
and obviously it wasn't successful. So I kind of said then at that point in time, okay, maybe it's not the right time for Castle Costume on Nintendo Switch. So we left it, and surprisingly enough, it's all about timing. Because I can tell you right now, for example, within the last 2 months alone, Castle Costume has its active player base has increased by 1,000%. So it's really doing well at the moment. Yeah, people are really liking it. So it's just really a matter of time, and so potentially we could see something again with Castle Costume in the future. Because for anyone that's played the game, you will know that it kind of was set up for a sequel. So that is, if there ever was an interest there, it may be something I'd revisit. So it was definitely an interesting one.
And for when you did Custom Kingdom, you did a live action trailer for it, like a coming soon trailer. For this game,
yeah.
Custom Kingdom.
Yeah.
So, and you won a Vega award for it.
Yeah, so I suppose it's good to mention also, I own a very successful media agency. So that's one of my other companies. Which is what we
Loveridge Designs Limits. That's what you mean?
Well, it's called Loveridge Digital now, but it originally was called Loveridge Designs. The official company entity is called Loveridge Designs Limited. But yeah, it's called Loveridge Digital now. But yeah, so that's a full service media agency, and we kind of specialize. One of my specialties and what I'm known for within the industry is actually my video production and work in film. So
interesting.
That's how we kind of came out with the live action trailer, and that's how it won a few awards, because it was kind of quite high quality. And that's why
it's really
maybe
good, actually.
And I'd like to think that, yeah, thank you. And that's why I'd like to think that if people did look at our social channels, they would see that our content creation is very good, and it looks high quality. It's because that's kind of one of my other companies, and it does extremely well at that. So it's kind of yeah,
right.
It's good.
Yeah, it's that company has dealing in a lot of stuff, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, we've worked with I've worked across a lot of the famous franchises like Star Wars, worked in trailers for stuff like Jurassic, the Jurassic World game, done loads of stuff, constantly working with companies like Ferrari, McLaren, so it's good. I mean, it's something that I definitely love. I'm very passionate about content creation as a whole, and I feel that when I do work within that industry, it enables me and empowers me to create better games, because I'm being exposed to the latest and greatest technology within that space. So yeah, it's good.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's a nice mix. It's definitely a nice mix, and it's definitely given me the. I like to think it gives me a competitive edge.
What is your favorite game right now, then?
Ooh, I'm a strange one, a very strange one. I will always hold true that my favorite game ever made was Soma.
Oh yeah, that is really life thinking game, very psychology, philosophical game. I mean,
yeah, Soma. So there's an interesting story behind Soma too. So Soma was a game that it was actually one of the last full games that I ever played through. And it probably will be the last. So one thing that people don't realize is that when you are a game developer, oftentimes you actually don't get time to play games, because you're so busy working on your own game. You're so busy, putting in the hours to create your own product that you often don't get to experience other people. And I suppose at the time when Soma came out, I was just starting out, kind of within the industry, starting the company. And, it was kind of a very uncertain time. And I don't know, I think Soma and the storyline just kind of resonated with me at that time, and just kind of consolidated itself as my favorite game. Soma was a game of, discovery. Soma was a game of someone coming to the realization that they maybe that things were maybe not as they were presented to themselves, and it just resonated. So yeah, it's my favorite game, and I think it always will be. Obviously since then there's been titles that I've loved, and there was definitely the list is long about games that I love, but Soma holds true as my favorite game.
Right. I really, me myself though, I like
the ability to...
I really like Last of Us are really good, those type of games.
Yeah, they're great.
And 100%. Have you seen Life is Strange? That game.
I haven't seen Life is Strange. I've heard of it, and I've watched snippets of Life is Strange, and I've heard that it's definitely something that everyone should experience, and it's on my
to play.
my kind of list.
Right. Are you watching the
Yeah.
stream now, by the way? Can you see it?
Yeah, I have it open. I have it open
yeah.
here in a tab.
Right. I was wondering, I'm going around in houses here, so you are helping people out, I guess. That's what the game is all about. You're helping people. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll run you through the storyline. So Costume Kingdom is essentially set in a fictional town called Manchester, where you play as a child called Ryan. Now, Ryan is this like school kid within the town. Every Halloween, there's this competition within the town called the Apex Cup. Now,
Apex Cup.
the Apex Cup, and the Apex Cup is a competition which is held on Halloween night within Manchester, and it's used for the trainers of Manchester to essentially use their Holomon in a competition against each other. So it's kind of set in that vein, and during the game there's a twist that people kind of uncover, and there's kind of a secret plot line with one of the characters in the game who's potentially trying to change the way things are in Manchester. So it's an interesting game in that aspect.
Yeah, it seems really nice. It also takes back to old school type of games. Oh.
Yeah, no, 100%. That was definitely the.
It has this like PlayStation 2 style somehow.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the big stylistic choices with the game, was to kind of bring back that, but kind of take PlayStation 2 style games and bring it into the new age, but not making it terrible either. Because obviously a lot of people look at PlayStation 2 games with rose tinted glasses, so you know it was interesting in that aspect to trying to bring that back. And it's an interesting title. I mean, it's quite innovative in the way. And for example, now I can see you're in the Apex Cup, which is actually one of the competition areas. So there's 3 competition zones within the game, and you've just entered one of them here now. I can tell you now that you're under level to be in the area.
Yeah.
So we might see some interesting battles coming up here. Yeah, I mean it's
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, that area was hard. I think I wandered too long off the path here, but I keep going.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so it's so typically the gameplay loop for the game is to go around and do some quests for people. So if you talk to some of the locals, like some of the locals will have like, you know, question marks over their head and stuff.
Our hero
And
has
yeah,
embarked
you
on
can
a
get
new
quests from
adventure.
them.
How
And then
exciting.
they kind of help you level up throughout the game, and also in the world. And in every area, there's like a secret costume hidden in a chest. So it's important that people look for that, because that gives you a new character within the game. So I can see, so you have to find the quest here now. But yeah, it's a nice little title.
Sorry. Continue.
Yeah, no, it's a nice little title, and I suppose it was a big learning experience, because you know, obviously after Castle Costume, we hopped into the monster taming genre, and you know, it was our first time doing a monster taming game, in the aspect that you know we hadn't experienced that before, so it was very interesting to develop that further, you know, and I can see here now you found one of the quest items, and they aren't the costume. I can tell you that.
I was just wondering how I could see what that was.
Oh yeah, so if you go in there, so if you be in the side quests, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that was what it was.
Yeah.
So I found
Yeah,
one
so
of
you
the
found
cats, I guess.
Cats.
Right.
Yeah.
So can you tell us something about obviously you don't want to say maybe, but if you have something you can say about the next title you're working on.
The next title is something that is going to change Stratton Studios forever.
Interesting.
The new title is going to do one of two things. The new title is either A, going to put Stratton Studio into the stratosphere, or it's B, it's just everyone's going to hate it. Now,
it is like it need to be some of those, I guess. Yeah.
It's interesting in the fact that we are going for the highest quality game that we've ever released. We are aiming for a Pixar style within the game. So if you're familiar with Pixar, level of quality, that's what we're aiming for. Think of like the Kingdom Hearts. That's the quality we're aiming for, and we actually have achieved that. If anyone's seen early screenshots that we're pushing, so it's very interesting. It's going to be we're going back to our roots. So it's a horror Halloween themed game. So it's quite interesting in that aspect. And we haven't revealed the title of the game or any of the narrative yet, but it's a very narrative-driven game. So for anyone that played the one we found, they'll know it won a couple of awards for its story. It is a very interesting and intriguing story. So yeah, it's going back to them roots, and this is a story for the new game. It's a story of not only self-discovery, but it's a story of, I suppose, it's a story of, the potential, I suppose, pitfalls that people can fall to, and the process some people have to go through when they hit a certain point in their life. So it's it's going to be a hard-hitting game for many. Definitely a hard-hitting game.
Is it a first-person game?
No, so it's similar style. So it's a similar, so essentially this is the way I like to explain it, for anyone that hasn't seen it. It's a top-down game, so it's similar to how Costume Kingdom looks, but the camera's much closer in, and everything's 10 times the quality, essentially. So it looks like, you're running around like a Pixar world, essentially.
Interesting.
So it's...
I come to think about Oh yeah,
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I don't want you to spoil the full game, so let's see. In the custom kingdom here, the fight scenes, the fightings seems to remind me of Pokemon a bit. How you have aligned the fights.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's an inspiration.
I suppose, of course, in the Pokemon made the monstertainment genre, so of course you're always going to get that reference back to Pokemon. I suppose it's a formula that works. It's a formula that players are familiar with. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely an inspiration. We definitely have our own nuances with the battle kind of system that we've structured. Because obviously, a Pokemon style game typically hasn't been seen too much on consoles.
Right.
So
that is correct.
Definitely an interesting challenge. But yeah, I mean, some people do find that reference, and interestingly, some people have played the game and they've never actually played Pokemon, and then they've kind of, and then they've kind of learned to experience Pokemon through us. So it's quite interesting in that aspect.
Yeah, that's really nice. Huh.
Yeah.
So, this Emerit Irish Game Award, that was that you won in 2019. That was for the one we found, I guess.
Yeah, that was for the one we found. That was a narrative. Award. So that was for the story. And then last year as well, this come and gone, we were nominated as well. We didn't win this year for Castle Costume, sorry. And we were nominated in multiple categories. But yeah, so we like to always at least get, we always aim to at least be nominated. Obviously you can't win all the time, but you know, we always do push for the win as much as possible. I think with our next title that we're working on right now, I think we'll be, you know, I really do strongly believe that we'll be, you know, pushing a lot of awards with that, because it's definitely an interesting.
Who taught you
one.
how to kick like that?
Have you seen how? Do you know the company Devolver?
Yes, Devolver Digital. Yeah.
Yeah. I really like how they are promoting their games with this huge event and movies and commercials, and they even made a game. Have you seen that? They did a convention game. You go around in a closed convention.
Yeah, I suppose Devolver Digital are known for their innovative approach to marketing their titles. They always took the offhand marketing approach, so everyone knows them for it now. They're a great company run by great guys, and yeah, I mean, we've never had a chance to work with them. I mean, would we in the future? Yes, that would be the type of person that I could see us working with at some point. But yeah, I mean, they're a great company. I have to say, I really love the owners.
Right. Do you have any plans on doing something similar, like what you say, like, because you're at this Loveridge Designs company, obviously has something along the line there, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely could, and we are looking into it. Well, I suppose what we're planning at the moment for the new title to really push it, we're planning on taking a different approach. So we're actually planning on taking more of a, you know, I can't say just yet because we haven't worked out the exact details, but we are planning on doing something that I suppose would be seen as not the norm within the industry. So we are definitely planning on taking some risk in that aspect. And we're planning on doing some interesting things to get the new game out there. But for us, I suppose, and I think I built Stratton Studios around a certain type of marketing and a certain type of content that we push out. We're all about positivity, and we're all about community first, product cider. So that's what we're focused on. And yeah, I don't know if a change from that would be could work with our audience. But yeah, it's always something that I'm evaluating. And you know, you never know what we'll do in the future. I'm always interested in disruptive styles of marketing, so who knows what we might do next.
Right. I if I would have a studio, I like this. I would like to have like a parade of like a Disney parade of character from the game or something like that. That would be nice. But it can't. It's all about money, also, of course.
Yeah, I suppose it always does, and in business it always does come back to, because I suppose that's one thing that separates me from most game devs, is that I am first and foremost a business person.
Yeah,
that is that's what I'm. You know, kind of most game developers don't actually have any business experience, traditional business experience. So, like, you know, running the, you know, the typical, you know, business stuff. But I do, and you know, it changes the way I look at game dev, especially from a business perspective.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
I know how to run a business.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's yeah, it's interesting. Like, we don't look at it like most game devs do. I look at it from a point of view that at the end of the day, it is all about what is going to make sure that we are still around as a company in a few years, and that what's going to make our players happy also. And I like to think I'm very fair with the players, you know. I like to think that I'm very kind of open, and that I'll take everything on board and do my best with it. I mean, we're a growing company at the moment, and we're continuing to grow. We will continue to grow, and you never know where. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, we've been doing it for a few years now. We've kind of at that point, as I call it, the point of no return.
Yeah.
At that point now where it's like we've been doing it for so long, we've put so much into everything that, you know, the only way we can go is up. You know, so
that's a good way to go.
It's interesting that.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect
I mean, it's definitely very interesting in that aspect, and it's something that I'm very always on the ball watching. So yeah, I mean, we're not looking to regress, we're looking to progress, and by doing that, and we're taking every step that we have to do that. Like, you know, each game we're learning from, each game we're improving on, each game we're you know, just getting everything sorted, really. It's good.
Broncha XD is wondering what is this game. It's called Custom Kingdom, made by the other person that is talking here, Josh. What?
Yeah, I'll just give it a quick run through for them. So essentially, it's a monster-taming third-person adventure game set in a little town called Manchester, and essentially in that town there's this competition on Halloween night where the people of the town compete with each other in a competition to essentially, you know, be the best within the town. And then at the there's like a backstory to the game as well, which I won't spoil. That kind of throws a spanner in the wrench and takes the player on a nice little quest. So yeah, it's an interesting title.
When did you start developing this game?
So at Stratton Studios, we have a strict dev cycle of 1 year typically. So 1 year from the start to publish. So it's quite a quick. It's quite quick compared to other studios. Very quick actually. So yeah, it's very quick.
Then it works.
Yeah, I mean, very quick compared to other studios. It's interesting in the aspect that you know, we take that timeline very seriously, and we push very hard to hit that timeline each year. With our new title, as I've been mentioning to a few people recently, I don't know if we will hit that year. We will publish a game this year. We always do, but I don't know if it'll be the title that we're working on now. It may be a separate title, an intermediate title, so to speak. Because the one we're working on now is extremely time consuming and it's extremely resource intensive. You know, it's you know, open everything we've done. It's open to the max. So it's yeah, definitely very resource intensive in that aspect.
And then this game was released in last year in 2020, and is for PlayStation and Steam or PC, right?
Yeah, that's 100%.
That was too easy.
It was released on the I have to check the release. I think it was the 7th of October. It was released early October. I can't remember the specific release date now. It's been a while. I'll check now.
That makes sense. Oh, how do I?
But, yeah, it was released. Yeah, go ahead.
How do I change the costumes?
Okay, so good question. So what you do is so if you go into the team menu. Oh, we're near there. So if you press start there. And you go into this. Yeah, so far right. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so if you press let's see what button is the keybind. Yeah, I think they're the console binds. Let me see, what's the PC key?
Oh, there.
Let me just put.
I think I have it. It's blue now, I guess. So that would no.
Yeah, if they go blue and then you click the other guy. So if you click the guy that you want to switch to. Oh, so if you go back in. Yeah, you nearly had it there. So if you go in, you click him, make him blue. Okay, so once he's blue, now click the guy you want to switch him with.
So it's the one that is in the... No? Wasn't.
Yeah. So it switches. Yeah, so it switches the slots. So that's how you pick who comes out first.
Oh yeah. But the costumes, I mean, because now I'm having.
So if you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So if you go back into the main game.
Yep.
So if you press the escape key.
Yeah. I come back here.
I think it's the escape key.
Oh wait, now I see. You mean this the other here? Oh, sorry. I see now. I'm here. Right. Okay.
Oh, you got it. Yeah. There you are. Yeah.
So I can there. Right now.
Yes.
Now we are.
You just click on them. Yeah.
There we are. Now we're in business. All right. Bruncha is asking more questions here. Does it cost? Yes, this game costs. Right?
Yeah, it does.
Did you say?
What? Yeah. What? Yeah, it does. What platform are you on? What is it?
Bruncha, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, find out what platform you're on. I'll hook you up with a key. Don't worry.
We'll see if Bruncha is still there and answers. I like this with the costume thing. That's really nice. It goes well with Halloween, the theme, of course.
Yeah, I mean, and you can switch costumes. So, and each costume will give you different abilities. So throughout the game, like, you know, some costumes will give you like, you know, say for example, like a dash ability. Some will give you like a swim ability. So I know if you get Croco up on his back and you can swim in the water, and so it's good.
Yeah,
it's
that's
interesting.
really interesting.
Yeah.
What was the first game that you played that made you feel like you wanted to make games?
Oh, it's a good question. I suppose during my younger years, I was an avid gamer. I used to spend 8 to 10 hours a day playing games, and then when it came to the time, it was time to, you know, get out into the big bad world. I didn't really know what to get into. I was like, I don't really like it at the moment, so let's just make games. And then I started, and I fell in love with the process. I fell in love with it instantly. I didn't know I would. I just kind of stumbled upon it, and then before I knew it, I was addicted. There's just something about the creative process.
What is? Can you name some old interesting game that you played growing up?
I want a statue like that.
Still there? Did I lost you? Hello? Can I be heard still? Did it? Oh. Hello? Why can't I hear you anymore? I can see you speaking though, but I can't hear you anymore. Why is that? Let me see if I disconnect and call up again. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, there we go. I don't know what happened. That was weird.
Discord was being weird.
The guy
Oh,
went
good.
invincible. Visible. All right. All right. Yeah. Now, what? Yeah. I asked you what. Can you name a game you played when growing up? That's the last thing. Yeah. There you disappeared.
Let me see. I would say I'd say the game that I sunk the most amount of hours into ever was probably the games that I played the most was I played a lot of Destiny.
Yeah,
a lot of
good.
Destiny. A lot of Destiny. I think at one point I had nearly 3,000-4,000 hours within Destiny.
Oh my.
Yeah, I was a big Destiny guy. Like I was one of them guys who actually completed solo raids and stuff. And other games like Ark Survival Evolved, Rust, DayZ, Arma 3. I played a lot of the different style games.
By the way, did you? Brancha was also wondering if this game will forever only be Halloween.
This game, yes. It'll always be Halloween theme. We have contemplated switching to a more, I suppose, different season. So we have, some people have mentioned, why don't you do Christmas games or Easter games, stuff like that. I think it would, and I've kind of discussed it very much internally, and it is something that we maybe will play with in the future. But I think to go away from our Halloween roots would be a poor idea, because that's what we're known for, and to break that cycle, I think would be potentially, set us back a little bit.
Right. If you have one style, then some it works to change, and some it ruins them if they change. So I can understand that feeling there.
Yeah, for me, there's plenty of companies that just kind of cast games out and don't really have a set process to them or a set, way they're doing things. But for Stratton Studios, it's very important to me that people know what they're going to get if they're playing a Stratton Studios game. That's essentially what I want. Like, I want people to be like, Stratton Studios made a new game. All right, it's going to be a Halloween game. I want people to know straight off the bat, okay, they know what they're getting, type thing.
Nice. So, Brancha, he just said his name, the studio name. Can you say the studio name again?
Oh yeah, sure. It's Stratton Studios.
That is the name. It's interesting also when you are like, age doesn't really matter, but when you're doing this online and people are commenting, you have no idea about what age people are. That's interesting.
Yeah, like I can tell you now, I'm 21 currently, and so age doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. Yeah, it really doesn't. Like, I've never met like some of the greatest creators within the industry currently, I can tell you, are very young, and some of them are very old. So
yeah, it doesn't really matter. Like,
it doesn't really matter. No.
Yeah, makes sense.
But it's interesting, definitely interesting. There's a big thing. Most people think, you have to be old to have a company. It's like, no, you don't. You just gotta work hard. Essentially.
Isn't going to love you so much tomorrow.
It's an interesting one. Definitely interesting. But yeah, no, you never know who's behind the screen. It's definitely quite an interesting aspect. Which is good. Like, the internet's great for connecting people. I suppose it's changed the gaming industry and the gaming space also in the last few years, the way kind of that all worked. But yeah, it's definitely interesting, and I don't foresee it changing too much, really. You know, I think we're on that upward trend now where, you know, the connectiveness is going to keep going down the path it's going, and, you know, we're just going to keep becoming more connected. And I think as we become more connected, in a way, we become more apart. And that might seem like a different, like a weird way to look at it. But if you look at the gaming space now, you know, compared to where it was 10, 15 years ago, everyone was so separated in the gaming community 10 to 15 years ago geographically. But everyone had the same cause. Everyone was like rooting for the same games. There wasn't as much like, you know, toxicity.
Oh, you have the pirate song here.
Yeah.
oh my, that's one of my favorite, not really my favorite movie, but Johnny Depp is one of my favorite actors.
Oh, it's actually not the Pirates of the Caribbean song. It was
a little bit, yeah, it's similar to that one.
But yeah, I suppose, yeah, so as the gaming community's becoming more closer, technically we're becoming more distant apart. And yeah, it's quite a, yeah, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know where it's gonna go, but I'm excited to see where it does kind of take us. So it's good.
Are you doing any of the? Oh, can't I? I got stuck.
Oh, there.
Oh, it was just because I minimized the game out in the middle of this screen. That was bad, seems. Oh, I think I need to restart the game.
Are you a multi-monitor?
Oh, I just you have now unlocked a new ability. He made. Yeah. But yeah, I can't do anything here now. It froze here.
You might just have to hard reset it. You might just have to close it. No, again. And I think there is a an issue that's being looked through on specifically Steam, where if in certain cases where on certain graphics cards, if some people minimize the screen, it's causing like a soft lockout for some reason. It's weird in that aspect. But yeah, I mean, it's a growing title on Steam, so we're still working out some of the kinks. And as I suppose for anyone that doesn't know, the game wasn't even meant to be launched on Steam. The game was made for consoles, and it's a console first title. So the Steam version was made as a request by the community, essentially. So we kind of, you know, we're still working through some of the kinks on that side of things. But yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I mean, if someone was to say what is the Costume Kingdom experience, I'd say play it on console, because that's what it was made for.
It feels like a console game, and I'm playing with the PlayStation controller now on Steam, so I'm all I'm all console anyway.
Yeah, no, it's good in that aspect, but yeah, no, it's console first title, so there is a little one or two tweaks sometimes with it, especially I think streamers have the worst of it when it comes to it, because I know they have a lot of screens going on. They don't traditionally have just, you know, the typical setup that you'd be expecting, so there is some technical little loops you have to jump through there. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's interesting in that aspect.
Can you find do you have collectibles like this? I'm finding posters now over the place. Can you find them in your inventory somewhere?
No, so the posters are just kind of world items. So there you can't find them.
Oh, you can go and see them again. Okay. I thought they disappeared from the world, but no, they didn't.
No, yes.
That one maybe. No, they're still here. I found a movie, The Night, in cinemas now. That was chill.
Oh,
That was chill.
yeah.
That was chill.
Yeah, so there's a couple of posters. They just kind of some of them contain like little Easter eggs to different things. Some of them are mainly just world building stuff. They're just kind of littered throughout kind of in-depth people in the world a little bit more. Originally we were planning to do a little bit more with the poster side of things, but in the end we had to, I suppose time ran out really. You know, time was one of the things against us in the game, especially with the PC version. You know, that got put together in I think less than 2 months, so it was quite a short dev cycle as compared to our typical cycle. But yeah, no, it's interesting in that aspect, and I mean it's growing in that way, and it's exciting to see different people play it, you know.
Right, because people are playing games differently, of course, and it must be interesting to see when people are playing games. Like sometimes you may be watching people playing and like, that's not how you're supposed to play that game. Maybe you're thinking, but people can play however they want to, I guess. And
that's one of the biggest problems that we actually have is accommodating for it. That's one of the biggest problems game devs have in general is accommodating for people playing games how they want to play them. So every time I make a game, every time I make a title and I make one and I have it constructed in a certain way, people play the opposite every single time.
Yeah.
So it's about accommodating for that and making sure that everyone is successful and everyone can play.
I really like this game because now when I'm not really, I haven't grasped so much of the story now because I'm talking to you at the same time. So I jumped over all the text files and so. But yet I'm enjoying the game. There's a lot of place to explore. That's what I really like about this game. That's a really good thing.
Yeah, it's open-ended in that I suppose it was a game that, and the idea was like it's a short enough title. So it's short enough title, and I suppose we wanted people to kind of play it on Halloween night, maybe when they're, you know, interacting with their family, maybe not paying too much attention. They don't have time to be sitting there, you know, dedicating everything to their play session. So yeah, it was definitely, that was the idea behind it. And I think it definitely can be, it's best played, I suppose would be the way to put it, in that aspect, when you're, you know, just kind of sitting there chilling. And you know, you don't have to, if you want to read all the dialogue and pay attention to the story, it's there. But if you don't want to and you're not really interested in that, you don't have to. So I think it's good in that aspect.
Do you have any plans on releasing this physical, like maybe by the company Limit Run or something like that?
Potentially. I mean, there'd need to be a good want there, and the cost of doing that is quite high.
Yeah.
You know, there is it is like, I can tell you now, and not a lot of people know this, like even for ratings alone, you'd burn through probably 20,000-30,000. You know,
I do wonder how companies like Limit Run, how they can release these really small indie games. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not sure Limit Run, I'm not sure what their legal structure is, but I can tell you now that for physical distribution with through the main console platforms and to get it all done, it's very expensive. So I'm not sure what the clause that they're working within is allowing them to do. Yeah, it can get expensive, and I suppose for us, I would rather spend that 20,000-30,000 on improving our other games.
Yeah, that would make more sense, I guess. Also, Bronche is asking more things here. It's asking if any of us has played COD. I have played that a little bit. Not much.
I used to be a little COD fanboy back in the day. Yeah, I used to love COD.
Nice.
Yeah, I used to get all, like, you know, prestiges and all that stuff. and all the gold weapons and diamond skins, whatever you could get. I used to get all that, and used to play zombies a lot too. So yeah.
The zombie mode is really the best thing there. I really like.
Yeah. I mean, zombies was always interesting. Definitely very interesting. Yeah, I love zombies. It was good. I loved the kind of immersiveness and the replayability. That was one of the greatest things about COD Zombies was the replayability of the zombies mode, especially couch co-op with your friends. It was really good. And then when they brought it, and I love the Easter eggs as well. Like, the best thing about that was that, like, the information was there, but they weren't shoving it in your face. Like, if you wanted to find it, you could go find it, and there was always that extra hoop to jump through. So it was good. I really enjoyed it.
Nice. Is there any game you're looking forward that will come this year?
There's a couple of games I'm always looking forward to. I suppose the game I'm most looking forward to now is Ark, the new Ark game. I think that's going to be really good. Will I get a chance to play it? Probably not, but I'm definitely excited to see what they have to offer in it anyway. And the new God of War that they're working on looks great.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
I mean, and then there's a couple of games that I know about that I can't talk about. That, you know, some of the bigger studios are pushing out. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward. I'm excited to see what a couple of the, you know, studios that we work with it's going to be putting out in the next couple of years, because we do a lot of contract work with the AAA companies also. So it's so it's always interesting to see what they're pushing out too.
Need to unlock a new costume.
Do you like Resident Evil?
Access this item.
Yes, Resident Evil is awesome. I really enjoy Resident Evil, and I suppose anyone that played the one we found will definitely get Resident Evil kind of vibes off it.
Right. I'm really looking forward to The Village. That is gonna come this year.
Yeah, The Village looks great. It really does. I love the I love their use of boyds. I love their use of boyds within the village, especially with the AI that they're running with. It looks really cool. Yeah, I'm excited.
And we have some Uria from Stratton Studios, some colleague to you, I guess. Is looking forward to, that person is looking forward to Ratchet and Clank Rifts Apart. Yeah, I saw the trailer a long time ago for when they did the first kind of games for PlayStation 5, I think. I saw that. They haven't released that game yet, I guess. Then.
No, it's still going. I mean, it's going to be a good one. Really,
it looked really good, that trailer there. I kind of forgot about that game.
Yeah, I mean, that game caused a good bit of controversy with the whole, you know, console wars type thing too. So it was good. I think it's I think it's I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good one. Definitely going to be a good one.
That one hurt.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see what they push out with it. And I suppose that's where we're at now. Like, you know, we don't really know where, or well, maybe some of us do know, but maybe we can't. You know, not everyone knows where the next kind of generation of stuff's going. Maybe, and you know, we're at that edge of discovery again. So it's quite interesting.
Yeah, and as how the world is, it's nobody knows how that can affect people, how they are doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been tough for everyone.
Yeah,
you know, and I don't think anyone's had an easy time, so to speak, with it. But I suppose all that everyone can do is just, you know, keep the head down and keep going.
Yeah, play games. Stay inside, play games.
Yeah, 100%.
There is this Hideo Kojima thing. It's doing this game Medium, I think. That's what the game is called.
Yeah,
seems really
Hideo
interesting.
Hideo Kojima is always a very interesting character. I've never had the chance to actually speak to him. I'd love to one day.
That would have been nice if you said that. I spoke to him yesterday.
Lots of holidays.
No, yeah, would have. I wish I had. But no, I've never had the opportunity to talk with him. I definitely think that he is one of the innovators within the industry, and yeah, I mean, he's a very creative man, I suppose, and the stuff that he publishes and pushes out is it's game breaking in the way that it just functions, in the way that he thinks as a game developer. His thought process is very innovative, and yeah, I mean,
very much so.
It's crazy. He's definitely one of them guys where, you know, you kind of look at his game, look at his titles, and you say, all right, that's a Hideo Kojima game. You know, so it's very interesting in that aspect. Very humble too, very humble man. So yeah, he's one of the greatest. And he's one of the forefathers of, you know,
Lemmy the Panda. Yeah. The thing in the game that sorry for cutting you short, what you were saying.
All good.
In the chat here, Uria was saying, "Don't kick Lemmy the Panda." You are using the same button as to talk to as kicking, as most games are doing. So it's always when you're not standing right, you are hurting the people. In most games, it is like that. It should be another button for interaction with.
Yeah, the good old kick the panda. Yeah, no, that happened a good bit during development too. But yeah, no.
But actually, I was also
anyway.
standing behind, and I came from behind from the start there, so I was trying to interact with him from behind there, but I was just kicking him then. I can see like this then, because this is a colleague to you, Uria. Uria, am I saying it right? I wonder. Uria. Anyhow.
It's Uriah.
Uriah. Can you say
that's
what kind of person is Josh to work with? Will you get a good answer? I hope.
I'll get the best answer, otherwise I'll get put outside. Get locked outside the office. No, it's good.
See what
you're right. Yeah, he'll probably respond in a second. But yeah, no, you're right. Does great things for Stratton Studios, and he's my brother as well. So it's great to have him. Great to have him on board. He handles the social channels side of things, and yeah, so it's good. It's good to have him on board. You know, as I say, we've been there since the start, so it's good. I mean, you know, every team needs a solid backing, and I think we have that now. So it's good. It's really good, and yeah, I mean, it's definitely always great to be able to, you know, push good things out. With the titles.
You had fishing in the game. I noticed.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, there's a little fish. There's a couple mini games in the game. There's loads of stuff, like there's a platforming section too. There's loads of little nuances. There's like a battle tower also, and so it's quite jam packed. Like there's a good bit there.
Oh, we got an answer here. He's ruthless, but Josh is the hardest working person I know. Without his discipline, we wouldn't be where we are. That's a really good answer.
Yeah, I am ruthless, especially when it comes to the processes and how things have to go, because I am well aware that, you know, oftentimes games get like caught in this game development hell if too many people are kind of saying, oh, you know, let's do this, let's do that. And while ideas, as I always say to people, ideas are cheap, but execution is, key. So it's all about making sure that, the company's going to be able to continue to push what we're doing, and it's going to align with what the players want. And it's so maybe sometimes I do have to make decisions that maybe aren't that either mightn't seem like the best at the time, but it is one of those things where it's it's a learning experience. Like no one really knows what players are gonna want, but you just make the best guesses, and we always do things with the players, at heart.
That's good.
We'll never cut corners if it's going to affect the player's experience.
Fishing. Well, I think we can round off this if you don't want to talk about anything else. If you feel like some passion thing.
I think we've covered everything. I mean, I suppose right now within the company's timeline, it's a very secretive period in that we're working on a new game. We can't really talk too much about it. As the year goes on, around summer, we'll have much more to talk about, and we'll have much more to reveal, and that kind of sense of mystery. We can really get into it, and we can dive right into the thick of the new title, and we can figure out where it's going to take us all. I mean, we've got a couple we've got a couple hard months ahead of us now with the new game, making sure it's going to align with everything. But once that's done, I think really honestly, I really think that if anyone hasn't experienced Stratton Studios before, they will hear of us after that.
That sounds
and
good.
It's going to be good. And listen, I'm excited to have you along for the journey. I mean, it's creators like yourself that spend their time to interact with us that make things possible. So I really appreciate that. And it's something that I don't take lightly. I take it very seriously, and I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I'm trying to help, because that's what I'm like. A lot of people actually go at me and say like, you should do this and you should do that with your channel to get more exposure. And I'm saying that I want to do my way, and if I can only make one person happy by having one viewer, then I made that person happy. That's enough for me. I don't want to earn a lot of money and stuff like that. But if I do, I wouldn't say no, though, of course. But
yeah, I mean, I
just
suppose
for helping in a calm way.
Yeah. I mean, I think from a perspective of, you should always do what you love first, and then if money comes from that later, so be it. And I suppose if you push for money, it's never actually going to come. It's just one of those things that never seems to happen. Passion first, revenue later. And I think the more people stick to that, the better you'll get reception to things. So yeah, I think it's good, and I'm excited to have you along for the journey. I mean, we're gonna have plenty more interactions moving forward. I mean, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, looking forward to getting some review codes and playing on my channel.
Yeah,
that's all good.
Yeah, 100%.
But I thank you then for being along here, and really nice game, very open, very big, I would say, this game. So that was interesting to go along here.
Yeah, no, and listen, thank you very much for taking the time to play. As I say, it's much appreciated. I do really appreciate that you've taken the time to do it. And listen, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you. And one last thing,
and
can you, if someone is having thoughts about starting a game company, what is your tips for them?
I suppose there's 3 cornerstones to building a game development company. Step 1 is you got to be willing to work relentlessly for a number of years, unpaid, to hone your craft. And once you do that, so you need to work hard. You need to make a simple idea, but do it well, do it extremely well. So start simple. Don't start trying to build the next Fallout 4. You know, make something that's reasonable and build it very well. Pick a nuance, pick a niche within the industry and stick to it. Don't jump around. And whatever you do, don't go looking on the internet how to be a successful game developer, because it doesn't work doing that. And I can tell you now that, you know, the core business skills that you'll need, you know, read a lot of books, you know, read a lot of literature, see what other successful people have done in the past. As they say, you know, walking on the shoulder of giants is a pretty quick way to get to the top. And if you can take some experience from other, you know, very successful game developers and what other people are doing, and then you're going to get to where you want to be a lot quicker. But if you're thinking of jumping into game development because you want to make loads of money or anything like that, you're not going to be successful within the industry. It's not about that. It's not about making money. Comes to anyone that's, if you're good enough at anything, you'll make money at it, as I always say to people. But game development shouldn't be about the money. Game development is about the want and the need to create something for other people to enjoy. Now, when you're creating something for other people, you know, there's a certain feeling, there's a certain adrenaline rush that you get when you see people playing your game, or you see, like, you know, your trailer launch on the PlayStation YouTube channel and instantly it gets, like, you know, 20,000 views or whatever. There's a rush to that. And that's what we're chasing as game developers. I mean, we're not chasing the big paychecks. The big paychecks come, but, you know, that's not it. Like, you know, realistically, if it was just about the money, we'd be doing mobile titles.
That is true with microtransactions.
Yeah, like, realistically, that is the truth. Like, if you want the truth, you know, on a mobile game, you know, you can get 10 times the margins that you do on console titles, and it's 10 times easier because there's not as much regulation. But that's not what we want to do. That's not what we're about. What made gaming great was the passion and the want to create something for other people to enjoy. The best game developers did not start out, you know, when they first started because they wanted to make a load of money. Like, if you look at the greats, the people who really defined the industry, they started out because they had one sole thing that they needed to do. They needed to create and they wanted to share with other people. And that was it. And the money came afterward. So I think that, you know, by going back to that and by following the steps of how to build a game company, the path is clear. You know, the path is very clear. A lot of people say, you know, oh, it's so hard to be a game developer. It's so hard to get people to play your game. And I always say to them, yeah, it is hard when you're trying to charge them after 5 minutes of talking to them. You know, like, it's kind of like, you know, give me your credit card first and I'll talk to you then. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. Within the games industry, it's all about being wholesome and it's all about being authentic. And if you're not authentic and wholesome, you're not going to be successful. And I don't care how good your game is, people will see through that and they won't like you. Like, if you in the game dev industry, the most important thing to you is your players. And if you don't treat your players good, well then, you know, you're never going to get too far. Like the big companies like EA, Activision, all them guys, and they can treat their players terrible, essentially, because people are always going to play their games. And they know that. But as a smaller company, you know, you can't neglect your players, and it's not something that the company should be built off. Like, if you look at the people who founded these companies, all they care about is their players, and all they care about today is their players, you know? And a lot of them get out of the industry when it gets to that stage of mass monetization. So, you know, I suppose to people who are thinking about getting into game dev, I'd say think about your reasons why. You know, you're not going to become a millionaire overnight. If that's what you think, that seems to be the general consensus among people I speak to. But yeah, you're not going to. Will you ever become a millionaire off it? Possibly, you know. But you can also become a millionaire selling flowers if you get good enough at it.
True.
So
That makes
you know,
sense.
I'd say just think your reasons. And if you don't like working hard and you like your weekends off and stuff like that, well then I don't think the industry's for you. I really don't. Go get a job and, you know, maybe work in the AAA companies where you will have the weekends off sometimes. And yeah, I mean, but yeah, the game dev industry is a creative one, and it's only for it's not for the faint of heart. It's like the art industry, really. It's like any industry, the film industry. And you know, only the best survive. And the most hardy survive, and the ones that are willing to push themselves harder than anyone else will push themselves. And the ones that are going to do that are the ones that are going to succeed.
I feel
yeah.
real honesty in those sentence there. And also this screen, I don't know if you see the game right now, but it looks like I've been standing here by the Lemmy the panda, and it looks like you are the panda and I am the custom guy there, and we have been having this discussion now.
Yeah,
discussion.
It's good.
So that's
But
it
yeah.
for this. Really nice to talk to you. You seems like a really honest person, I must say.
Thank you very much. I always try to be as honest as possible, and I don't like to, you know, I like to be as authentic as I can.
And maybe I will talk to you again eventually about the next game. We will see what happens.
Yeah, 100%. We'll stay in touch, and yeah, we'll definitely have another chat soon.
Yeah. Well, thank you then, and thank you everybody who has been watching, and everybody stay safe wherever you are, and that's it. Stay gold.